Greetings. Most importantly, is that blessings. Yes, sir. Bless my heart, bless my soul. Left it to the world, they're surely turning cold. Bless my heart, bless my soul. Give me the strength to continue on this road. Bless my heart and bless my soul. Left it to the world, they're surely turning cold. Bless my heart and bless my soul. Give me the strength to continue on this road.
Yo, 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 yo. It's 7 o'clock on a good old Sunday, so you know what it is, man. It's 82 and 0 live, baby. We're here today, man, and it's a great day, man. It's hot outside, but we're going to play it cool today. I promise you that. I got a very, 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 very dope guest today, man. I'm excited to get him on. I've been kind of working my move. God been working his move to try to make it happen. I think it's a great idea. Young fella doing some great things. If you remember, we had AZ on. AZ has his Bible study. He does it from this location, Vibez Coffee. Beautiful place, great coffee. The Danishes and pastries are good, even though my diabetes said I shouldn't have them. They're a great thing. I'm going to bring them on. Before I do, I want to shout out my father. Today is his birthday. I ain't going to say how old, but happy birthday, Father. Glad to have you here still. But without any further ado, the man, probably soon to be a man and a legend. I'm going to go ahead and speak that into existence. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Eric Archer, the second.
What's up, brother? Appreciate the intro, man.
Oh man, I appreciate you being here, brother. It is a pleasure to have you here. How you doing today?
Doing good, brother. It's a Sunday, man. It's always a good day.
You know it. It's always a good day, man. A little word, a little rest, maybe a good plate of food, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man. Like I was saying in the intro, man, I've been kind of trying to work. I don't want to call it a move. I said that earlier, but I just been kind of trying to make this happen. In between my first season and my second season, I was trying to find ways to get outside. That's why I was calling it Get Outside, because I had just been doing it in this form. And I have a segment I do called Off the Script, where I'm just going to different places and just sitting around and kind of like man on the street type content, where you just go up to people and ask them questions and get good feedback. And I'm like, man, where can I really find people that'll already be in that space where I don't have to filter through so many people to try to, you know, you don't want to ask somebody, hey, what's your favorite Bible scripture? And they don't really read the Bible, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
And so I've been hearing so much about Vibez and what you're doing now. I'm like, man, I got to do it. And I mentioned it to my good friend Jay, and he was like, hey, well, you know, I know somebody down there, man. Maybe I could do it. And here we are, man. Shout out to Jay for doing it. He's been working behind the scenes. I've been texting him. He's like, man, you know, I got it. I told him I don't want to bother you, but I want to make it happen.
Yeah, that's my guy, man. I'm glad to be here, bro, for real.
Yeah, man. But before we get started too far into who you are, I want to do a few icebreaker questions. These are the kind of questions that I would ask on Off the Script.
Okay.
The first one I want to ask is, what is your favorite Bible scripture?
Yeah, that's an easy one, man. Philippians chapter 4, kind of that passage as a whole, which tells you to be anxious for nothing, but in everything through prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, you know, make your requests known to God, and the peace that surpasses all understanding will guard your heart and mind in Christ Jesus, right? And there's a few other passages or verses in there, but the big idea that I take away from it is just that peace that just really, when there's chaos all around, like, I don't know if you know that meme with like the dog in a room and it's on fire and he's like, this is fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I feel like that passage is to me. It's like, it don't matter. Everything can be burning around me, but you can just sit there and be like, this is fine. You know what I'm saying? You got that peace. So that can sometimes be how life feels like to me. So I always go back to that passage just to give me peace, man, in pretty much every circumstance, bro.
I like that. That kind of leads me into my next question. Like, when you are in that room, right, and there's that fire all around you burning, right, and you want to say this is fine, what's the go-to song that you play in that moment?
Ooh, that changes, bro. Like, that changes so much. I'll tell you right now, Ty Galbraith's got a song called Everywhere with him and Naomi Rain, and that joint, like, that right now, that's the song. Like, and it's like 15 minutes long too. Like, you got to do the extended version with like with all the like encouragement at the end. But it just reminds me that it doesn't matter. It's based off of even that. I think it's Psalm 139, which is like, no matter where you go to the depths of hell, like God is with you, no matter where you are. And that song, yeah, that's the one right now.
I can dig it. All right, so a little fun with this one, right? Say you're at the coffee shop, right?
Okay.
The door opens it up, and Jesus walks in. What do you suggest on your menu for him to have?
Oh, that's good. I'm gonna tell him my favorite, man. So I like black coffee. I know that everybody likes black coffee, but I like black coffee, and we do an amazing pour over, which is just a method of brewing the coffee that's a hand brew. It takes about 5 minutes to do, so it slows you down. I think the pace of Jesus would want a slow, like, brew method, and it brings out the natural flavors of the coffee bean. So you're not adding cream and sugar, nothing. You're just tasting the fruit, the way it was designed and grown. And so I'm like, Jesus gonna want it, organic from the earth, the way it was meant to be. So that's probably what I'm gonna serve him, thinking that's what he would want.
I like that. When you said that, it just reminded me of something I saw online. A guy was saying he walked in the kitchen one day, and his mom is at the stove cooking. And she said, "Come here," and she invites him over. And she has a potato, egg, and a coffee bean, and she puts them all in separate pots as they're boiling. And she says, "This is a message." She took the potato out, and she said, "See this? You see how the potatoes become soft?
Mm.
Don't let the world do that to you. Don't make it. When you're going through things, when you're going through heat, don't let it soften you to this point." She said, "But look at the egg. The egg is hardened. When you're going through things, do not let it harden you. But look at the coffee bean. It spread itself out. And that's what you do. You show the goodness of you. You spread yourself and show people just how good God has been." And I'm like, "Oh, that's so good. That's so good."
That.
You can have it because I borrowed it just now, man. But yeah, if you would, let's get into who you are, Eric, and just how you got to where you are today. So if you would, like, give us a backstory of where you're from and kind of like your early life growing up.
Yeah, so from a little bit of everywhere, but I primarily say Southern California. My parents are Marines, and so I was born upstate New York, but I've lived Midwest, South, West Coast, kind of all over at different points. But from the point that I was about 8 through high school, I was in some part of California. So that's the place I lived the longest, and primarily Orange County, so right outside LA is kind of where I'm from originally. But I said I didn't stop moving. I went to college in Atlanta. I went to Morehouse in Atlanta, so I was there for a while, and then went back home to Cali and was there until eventually moving to South Carolina about 5 years ago. So, like I said, I've been a little bit all over the country, man, in a variety of places. And like I said, it's something I think has helped me, like, get to know people kind of fit in almost anywhere, just because you had to adjust and, meet people no matter where you go. But I also think it's helped me, be exposed to different parts of this country, different cultures, understand where people are coming from with different issues and things of that nature. So it was challenging in some ways, but I think it taught me a lot too.
Nice. So you get back to Cali often?
I haven't been back once, bro, since we moved, man. So we left 5 years ago. I've not been back one time, man. And one, it's far. It's on the opposite side. And two, I have a big family, man. My wife and I are expecting our 6th kid next month. So trying to get on a plane and take a family of 7 going on 8 now to California is a couple stacks just to get out there, bro. So we let them come to us. So my parents come out and see us. Her parents come out and see us because it's a lot harder for us to go see them.
Nice. So you say you went to Morehouse. Talk about like your early college years, and maybe kind of how the transition from living in Cali to coming to Atlanta. I know that's completely different, space there, and maybe some of the different things that you experienced in that time.
Yeah, it was a huge culture shock for me, like just difference because I don't know how familiar you are with Orange County, California, but it's like 1% black, bro. So like I grew up being like one of the only black kids in most of my classes and things of that nature. Luckily, I was grounded in a predominantly black church that kind of helped with as far as culture and identity and stuff, like being able to have that. But part of why I was very interested in going to an historically black college was just for that, for culture, for all that. But I mean, Morehouse was one of the best decisions I ever made in my life, man, was going to that school and being a part of a community that genuinely cared for black men and investing in us and helping us be, kind of an impact in our local communities and those kind of things, like somebody that really poured into us. But the biggest adjustment, man, was just really trying to grow into manhood away from home, right? And kind of doing that like on my own. I don't even get all into this, but I grew up in a church. So like I've had a faith background pretty much most of my life and whatnot, but it was kind of the first time that I had to choose a church on my own, right? That I was going to go to, or decide if I was going to go to church in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody was coming to wake me up on Sunday and tell me to go. The first time I decided if I was going to live the way that I knew I should live, kind of based off of that. And, full disclosure, for the first 3 years, I wasn't really doing that. I was kind of, really kind of took a left, man, and didn't really pursue the things of God for a few years there. And just kind of really growing and maturing in that and kind of coming face to face with what that meant. But yeah, it was still one of the best decisions, man. The dudes I met my first year, those are some of my best friends in life. Like those are my brothers, and they're people that love to this day. That there's that type of camaraderie, that community there. Like I said, the investment in civil service and things of that nature. A lot of that came from there and was shaped and molded being a part of that community.
Nice. So that having that being rooted in God and that transition, I know is important, especially in a place like Atlanta. Who would you say would be the people who kind of really instilled that into you before you left California?
Oh, that's great. That's a great question. So first and foremost, my parents. So like I lived up until like 6th grade. I was with my mom primarily. My mom was a single mother for the most part. And so it was her, my brother, and I. And no matter where we were stationed, we was going to church, right? So like no matter what part of the country we was in, we were going to church, and she always made sure we were there. And then when I moved from living with her to live with my dad and my stepmom, that's when I got to the church that eventually I really kind of grew up in and spent a lot of time in. And so my parents, first and foremost, like I didn't get to, I would joke, my wife and I grew up at the same church. And there was this thing in the youth ministry, like the youth at the church would like sit on the back row, and kind of cut up a little bit and not necessarily pay attention. My parents didn't let me sit back there with them. So like I had to sit up with them. I had to pay attention to the message. Like I had to ask questions and, know what was going on. And they made sure I was, studying the word for myself, knew it for myself, wasn't just taking even like the pastor's word all the time, like, making sure it aligned with scripture. So first and foremost, my parents. After that, my youth pastor at the time, Pastor Kenneth Curry, was a guy that like was extremely influential and someone that invested a lot in me when I was in youth. He eventually became the lead pastor of the church, and a lot of the reason I went back to California was to be the youth pastor at that church up under him, because he was my youth pastor growing up and was a huge investment in me. And so, he even went to Morehouse to see me off that week of orientation. Like he flew out there, and not just me, he did it for a few students, but he was somebody that was really influential for me.
Nice. You said something that I want to kind of just poke on that for just a quick second. You said that you were taught that regardless of what the pastor is saying, that you were taught to make sure that it aligned with scripture.
Yeah.
That is important.
Yeah.
It's something that low key is really not done enough. When you would think about it, there's a lot of different things that we say. They're like, oh man, the Bible says, and we just say these phrases, but it's like, nah, somebody on stage said that one day.
Yeah.
And we kind of ran with it, and we believe that to be a thing.
Yeah.
So that to me, I just want to bring more light to that, because that's definitely very, very important. I have a friend now who's a youth pastor, and we were having a conversation months ago, and he was like, that was one of the things his mom, who is a pastor, would say to him all the time, is like, hey, regardless of what's being said, you need to make sure that it aligns with scripture. If not, it's just somebody talking. So I really wanted to touch on that part.
Yeah, it's so important, bro. And it's like you said, I didn't realize how unusual it was until, I kind of got older and started kind of connecting with other people and realizing that was something that was very different. That my parents were very consistent in that, and it shaped so much about my faith as a whole. That the authority was the word in the Bible, and the pastor or preacher was simply the servant, right? And that it also gave me the healthy perspective that pastors and preachers are humans that could make mistakes. You see what I'm saying? Like, and not that it was like I didn't judge a speaker because something they said felt incongruent with scripture, and I think sometimes we could do that. Like, well, there's all sorts of channels out there that'll just take what a pastor said and it just dissect it and just like, condemn the pastor for, how it's taken out of context. I'm like, we don't got to do all that, man. Like cats make mistakes. They speak out of turn, whatever the case may be. And I think it gave me a healthy respect of like, that happens, but I'm not dependent upon them anyway, because the word is here and God gave me the clear instructions of what to look and how to compare it. And so, like I said, I didn't realize how impactful that was, but that was a big deal for me.
Nice. So I want to talk about the college time a little bit more. I know you said that it was a point where, of course, you got there and you had to try to find a church, or if you were even going to go to church. And then there was like a 3-year period where you really weren't doing what, in a sense, what you were taught and raised to do. Talk about that time period for us, and just kind of give us a better idea how that went for you.
Yeah, man. I'm grateful for this question. I think it's important to be honest about where we've come from, what I'm saying, and where we've been. I think sometimes people can see your life that you live today and, just feel like, it's always been that way. But the reality was, man, I had to make choices, and I continued to make wrong choices for a while. So like, for context, like when I went out there, I had never drank. I had never smoked anything. I didn't cuss. Like, I was like the good kid. Like, that was like, kind of my reputation, man. Like, even I played sports and all that stuff, and I was still known as the kid that wasn't doing what everybody else was doing. And little by little, I just started picking up some. First, it started with like, secular music. So my parents didn't really let me listen to that. So, all of a sudden I'm listening to club music, what I'm saying? I'm in Atlanta, so it's all trap music, right? So I'm doing is listening to trap. And on LimeWire back in the day, downloading all that stuff, what I'm saying, trying to catch up. And it started with that. So that, of course, started with my language. Now, all of a sudden, I'm listening to that, so I'm repeating some of the stuff they're saying. And then from there, I still didn't drink for like a year and a half into school. It wasn't until like my sophomore year. But eventually, I just started drinking, and then drinking turned to smoking. And, then it was women. It was all that stuff that, like, essentially, I had just become desensitized to even what sin was really, and like even feeling the conviction of it. I would have moments here and there. Like, I do remember calling my pastor back home, my youth pastor that I was talking about, calling him one night, like, what I'm saying, crying, like, I'm sitting, I'm messed up, like I'm doing too much, one of them nights. But after going to church, I went to somebody's church, I probably felt convicted. But like, for the most part, man, I was kind of doing that. But it wasn't until like he sat me down, bro. I was at not vacation, I was at spring break down in Florida, and one night just did something stupid. Was trying to get on stage and dance with like the girls that was on the stage, and the bouncers like threw me out, and I came back in, just kind of like went back through the front door, had a good time, and later on they saw me and was like, I thought we threw you out, and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, but it was like, no, we threw you out. So they're trying to throw me out again, and I ended up getting in a tussle with the bouncers, which ended up turning into a tussle with some police officers because they were trying to like get me arrested. And I got arrested that night, man, and spent pretty much 11 hours in jail. But like that night, I was charged with some stuff that I didn't think I would ever be charged with, like kind of the stuff that they put before me. And I just remember like really looking at the Lord, like, I don't know how I got here. Like, I knew better, man. Like, I was raised better than this. I know better than this. I don't know how. Like, my whole future could potentially be ruined over some dumb stuff I did one night. You know what I mean? Like, just thinking through all that. And so it was that night that really kind of gave my life back to Jesus, of like, all right, God, like, I'll do what you need me to do. The whole cliche, just get me out of here, right? You know what I'm saying? And I'll live right. And he did, man. Like, it was nothing but the Lord that I got out, because my boys I told you from school, a lot of them, they ended up showing up in my arraignment that next morning, and they'll tell you the story. Like, everybody else, the judge was like, this is your charge. What option do you want to take? You want to take the $1,000 fine? You want to take 90 days in jail? Which one you want to do, right? And like they just went person by person and gave them those options. They stopped at me, and they were just like, "You don't look like you would do this." And I'm like, "Dog, I don't know you from Adam. Like, I don't know what about me gives you the impression that I wouldn't do what I was charged with doing." You know what I'm saying? And they were like, "These are your friends in the back," and so I'm like, "Yeah, those are my friends." They were like, "What are you doing down here in spring break? Like, where you go to school?" Like, Morehouse, that's a good school. Like, they was really like interviewing me, which like, yeah, nobody else they took the time to do that for, and ultimately they did me a huge favor. Let me go on pre-trial intervention. Let me kind of go through the process. I got to go back to school and do everything. And ultimately, man, it ended up being, just a break. But like, if it wasn't for that, man, I don't know where, my life would be right now. But that's ultimately what started that turn of really committing my life back to God and starting to do what he asked me to.
I like that, man. I think it's times, maybe sometimes we realize it, maybe sometimes we don't realize it later, or however that plays out. But it's times where we like get to like a crossroad, and God just be like, nah, not this time, not this time. Like this, sometimes it's a warning, sometimes it's just a pull because I have more for you to do. And when I hear people tell those type stories, that's the first thing that kind of really comes to my mind. There's a guy, Kelly. He was one of my earlier episodes. He actually attends the Bible study on Monday sometimes.
Okay.
But he tells a similar story. But in his, he's like, man, I used to get in a lot of trouble. He's like, and God would sit me down. He's like, anytime I got too far out of there, God would sit me down in jail. He's like, anytime I got to jail, I knew like God was like, all right. And it was a time when he said he was sitting and he was looking at charges where he really shouldn't have been able to beat him at all.
Yeah.
Like serious charges. And it was like, boom. And he was like, yeah, okay, this time I'm done. Like that, like I'm good because there was no other way I could have got out of this than that. So to hear that like over and over just shows you the goodness of God and how he really, really works with that. So I know that.
I know you're about to go next, but I'm so glad you said that about his goodness, because I think we did the Bible in a year as a church like a couple years ago, and when we got through like the Old Testament, we were reading through the Old Testament, and so often God gets this reputation in the Old Testament as like this vengeful God, right? Like who will strike you down just because you sneeze the wrong way, right? Like that's like the impression. But when you really look at God's patience with the people and how much like grace he's shown, and how many times he delivered them and saved them and let them repent and turn around. Like I look at that, what you're talking about, the life lesson code, like, guys, man, like he is so patient with us. Like he gives us chance after chance. Like you said, hoping and desiring most that we ultimately repent and we turn back to him. But he's so good. His mercies are new every morning, man. And that's, it's a real testimony. That's the love I think that we don't always see, and understand of who God is. And it's even in his mercy and his grace, like what he holds from us is his love just as much as what he gives to us. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I like that. So post college, right? You get you get your get out of jail free card, right?
I paid a lot of money though, but no.
Yeah, that PTI usually ain't cheap, so let's go ahead. but so you get that chance to kind of turn it around. Like, what's that process like? Because sometimes we go from, hey, God save me, to I'm good now. What's that in between time of really changing it? Like, was it a place where you had to kind of work on it and really be hard on yourself to let go of the habits that you learned? Or was it just like I'm good, I learned enough, I'm back on the straight and narrow?
Yeah, that's good. So I say it was kind of a combination of both. It was a process. It took time. Like from that night until the day that I would probably say most of those things were out of my life, it was probably 3 to 4 years, like total. But it's interesting that along the way, there were these clear moments where he just cut something off. So perfect example is like smoking weed. Like for me, I was never like a daily type thing, but it was casual, right? We going out, whatever. And it was a night that I was going out with some friends, and we had smoked and we had some edibles, and so I'm sitting in the backseat of this car, and we're headed to this party, and I could just feel like this disappointment from God. Like I just felt him disappointed, and I could hear what felt like a demon, Satan, somebody just laughing and telling God like he's mine right now, like under this, like he belongs to me, like you can't use him. And I remember feeling just ashamed. Like when I say high blown, like I couldn't even enjoy the party the rest of the night, because it's just like it's like all I'm thinking about is how disappointed God is in me right now. And how if somebody needed me to minister to them or bless them or pray for them, whatever, I can't even do it. Like I'm not in that position right now, that mindset. And that was the last night. Like that was it. It was cold turkey from there. Like nothing. And so as much as that didn't happen the night that, God changed my life, it was like when it did happen, it was instant. And there were moments like that along the way. But I'll say the biggest change for me also happened when I left my environment. So love Atlanta. That's still a place that molded me and shaped me in so many ways. But also I was close. I was close to the stuff that, I fell back into, the stuff that I was tempted by. And when I left that and went back home to California, where I hadn't been in a while, I didn't really have access to some of the same, people or resources or whatever. That's when it really changed. It was a lot easier for me to like really separate and spend that time kind of becoming who I knew God wanted me to be. And again, some of that, the process had started, but that was like the real clean break, was ultimately me leaving Atlanta. Helped a lot to where now I can go back into those environments and I'm not even like tempted, you know what I'm saying? But for a while, it was still a push and pull, you know what I mean, as I kind of worked out of that.
Nice. So you get back home to Cali, you get yourself kind of back where you need to be, where you want to be, and then somehow or another you come back to my beautiful state. Tell us how you decided to come to the most greatest state of all states in the world.
Yeah, well, I'm a fan these days, man. This is home now, bro. I've been here like 5 years, but yeah. So to fast forward to like the Cali season, I was a youth pastor, and then ultimately kind of became more of like an executive pastor at the church that I grew up in, and that was about 7 years I was out there. Not met my wife, but my wife and I reconnected. We dated growing up, didn't talk the whole time I was in Atlanta. She was in Cali. Kind of moved back around the same time, got reconnected, had a couple kids. And then, man, I had this dream, April of 2021, that we moved to South Carolina. And it didn't make any sense because I didn't have any family out here. Like I didn't know anybody out here at all. And it was weird. I was kind of like, I don't know what I was about. I don't really dream much. So when I do, I tend to kind of like, pay attention a little bit, like maybe the Lord's saying something. And so I went to my wife, I told her, and she was like, that's interesting. I was just reading this morning about how God called Abram to a strange place, right? Like he called Abram to lead us home. And she was like, and I was praying, like, I wonder if God would ever ask that of us. Like, what would that look like if you ever asked that? And so we ended up praying and fasting for like 3 weeks on just like, God, is this what you're telling us to do? And there was a passage that like really stuck out to me. My pastor at the time was preaching through Hebrews 11. So those same 3 weeks, he's preaching through Hebrews 11, which you're unfamiliar, is a whole chapter on faith, right? Faith is the evidence of things hoped for, substance of things hoped for, evidence of things not seen. Like it goes through this whole list of people who showed exceptional faith, whatever the case may be. So he's preaching to that through those 3 weeks that I'm praying and fasting. And Hebrews 11:6 says, without faith, it's impossible to please God. And I was sitting there thinking like, man, I've been working full-time for the Lord for the last 7 years. Like that is my full-time job, is working in church. I could not imagine him not being pleased with me because I didn't have enough faith to move. You know what I'm saying? Like to do something. Like, and so yeah, we felt like God confirmed by May, so like by Mother's Day, we listed our home. We'd only been in the home 18 months. We had just bought the house. Listed the home for sale. It sold that weekend with like a 30-day close. And so we had to get in a car. So we got in the car. We was out here by Father's Day. And we've been ever since. So again, we didn't have much of a plan. I didn't have a job. We didn't have a house. Like we didn't know what we were going to do when we got out here. But just on a leap of faith, decided to move, and God worked everything out from there. But yeah, that's how we got to South Carolina. And I said we ain't left since, man. We ain't been back.
Nice. I don't want to. I don't want to reverse it too far, but I feel like it'd be wrong to skip over the youth pastor. Um, tell us. I know we're in South Carolina, but still, tell me how you kind of started as a youth pastor. I think that's very important.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, ultimately that same summer that I got arrested, so that's 2010. The same summer, during that summer, I felt God called me to ministry, and that was through this pastor I had met for the very first time. He kind of said some things to me that just kind of opened my eyes to the possibility. I reached out to my pastor back home, kind of told him. He was like, pray about it, ask, tell Bishop, and kind of some other things, and so that kind of got me in the mindset of just like, okay, maybe God has called me to to preach and go to ministry, but it was still a part-time thing for me. Like in my mind, it was still kind of like, that's the thing I'll do on the side. I got a career path I'm trying to go after. Like I'll just be an associate minister on the roster type thing. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of thing. But one of the things I really want to do is teach. I want to be a teacher, and I was going to try to do Teach for America specifically. I had done this internship that summer that was like a feeder system for it. And I applied, and when I didn't get it, it kind of put me in the spot of like, well, then God, what do you want me to do? And so I sat down with my pastor at the time in Atlanta. So shout out Pastor Purvis, Woman Purvis season at Destiny World Church in Austell. But I sat down with him, and I was like, all right, I don't know what I'm doing next. I was trying to be a teacher, got this call to ministry type thing at some point. And I wanted to ask him about seminary because I know he had gone to one of the seminaries in Atlanta, and I was asking him questions about that. And so, we had breakfast, kind of talked through that. Didn't think much of it. I went back home for winter break, and he calls me. He's like, hey, our youth pastor at the church is actually moving out of state. And I was wondering if you consider like stepping in and like leading our youth ministry. And I'm saying like, Doc, we just had breakfast. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I ain't really like gone through no training yet. Like, I don't know what you talking about. But yeah, he took a chance on me, and obviously, trained me up and all that kind of stuff. But he took a chance on me, and so I got into youth ministry first in Atlanta. Was there for about 3 years at that church doing youth ministry, and then went back home to be the youth pastor, kind of at a full-time job at the church I grew up in. So yeah, like I said, I always wanted to be a teacher. So working with young people wasn't like unusual. It was just dealing with a different subject now, kind of with youth ministry. But yeah, I was still in college at the time that like he got me started, and kind of was doing that from there.
Nice. So transferring from Cali to here, no job, but you are a youth pastor in a sense at that point. Do you look for something in the ministry, or do you just find something to be able to sustain what you have going on?
Yeah, so I definitely considered like a ministry position, like looking at kind of what churches might be hiring, that kind of thing. But like full transparency, man, God was also doing something in me in that season about like just how I do church as a whole. There was a book I read called Letters to the Church by Francis Chan. And it really challenged me some on, again, just my perspective on how church, like what church looks like, what is the church, like those kind of things. And I think I was really struggling to figure out, well, if I was going to go serve at a church, what kind of church would it be? Like, what would they stand for? How would they approach church? Those kind of things. And so I don't know if I was ready to go back into a full-time ministry role, because I think I needed to understand exactly, God, what were you calling me? What kind of church were you calling me to be at? You know what I mean? That kind of thing. And so I gave it thought, but I wasn't sure. And I mean, I had some churches at Cass that was like, yo, we missing a lead pastor. Like, we don't have a lead pastor right now. Like, would you consider applying, that kind of thing? But I needed to know for sure what God wanted me to do in the next church and what that would look like before I kind of walked into a season like that.
I got you. So what ended up being the decision that you made in that space as far as to provide for your wife and family?
Yeah, so I work in sales, man, full time. That's kind of what I still do. I work for a company called Subsplash. So we do. So the church that I was at before, we were clients of this company. So they would do software for churches, so like apps, websites, live streaming. So I mean, a lot of churches, you probably attend or go through, like if you have a church app, it's probably us, like that's giving the platform for that. And so we were clients. This is part of that faith story of how God works stuff out. The day I submitted my resignation at the church, I sent an email to a guy at this company who was just like, I don't know if y'all hiring. I don't know if y'all hire remote. I don't know if y'all hiring in South Carolina specifically. Like that's where I'm headed. And he was like, yo, it's crazy. My manager and I just landed in California right now. Like, let's do breakfast tomorrow. And so I do breakfast with him and the VP. And they kind of sell me an idea of trying sales and working for them in that regard. And so I was interviewing while we drove cross country, like in different hotels. I was doing different interviews as we were making the trip. And I've been with them. It'll be 5 years tomorrow. Like I've been with that company ever since. And it's been a blessing for our family. It was different. It was commission based, which I wasn't really used to. It was a little bit of a pay cut to kind of start with, but ultimately, man, I love what I get to do and who I get to work with, and it's been a great company. But yeah, I ended up falling in sales, man, which was not what I expected to do, but I do. I love it.
Nice. So let's get into the Vibez. The base of it, the origin of it. How did that idea come about?
Yeah, so it was back in Cali still. It was just a morning in like 2019. I was spending time with the Lord, and he gave me this vision of this church that met in a coffee shop that had these like micro churches that kind of extended off of it. So they were meeting in different homes and whatnot, but like the hub was the coffee shop. So like the sermon and the worship and all that stuff would happen from the shop, but it would broadcast into these homes. And, people were gathering in smaller, groups and whatnot in these homes. And like literally I'm just jotting it all down. I still got the notebook back here. And I like wrote all this down, one morning in 2019. And then the pandemic hit in 2020. And I'm thinking like, oh God, maybe he was just preparing us for the fact that everybody gonna be virtual. Like maybe he was just giving me like, insight. It was a little bit of prophecy. It was just like, oh, this was getting ready to happen, And so honestly, I just put it to the side. I didn't think anything of it because I was just like, oh, this is what's happening. But when God moved us in 2021, and I'm in this place of, I don't know why you brought me to South Carolina. Like, I don't know why you got us out here. Like, I eventually stumbled upon that again. It was like, okay, God, maybe this is what you want us to do, And so, so that year, we started looking at like coffee. My mom had got diagnosed with cancer that year. The same day that we actually listed our home for sale, she got diagnosed with cancer. And so, we were going to go visit her before a procedure. And, she had mentioned kind of her vision for this coffee shop that she had, that she wanted to open and things of that nature. It was like, why not just try to do it together? Like, let's try to work it out. We're trying to do some stuff in South Carolina. So she ended up moving down here and moved into the building that our shop is currently located. Like it's in a live, work, play community. Like there's apartments. She was on the 4th floor of that building. Moved into it with faith that like this is the place that God has for us, and ultimately didn't get it that time around. And came back around to it a couple years later. So last year, felt like God put it back on our heart to try again. But yeah, it just really started with a vision he gave me 7 years ago now, almost, and just kind of waiting for it to come to fruition.
So what do you in that time? You have the first attempt. It doesn't work. Like, speak on the faith that it takes, the belief, and where your mindset was about it, like to stay at it, to have what you have now.
Yeah. So shout out to my wife. I'm gonna be like full disclosure. So Victoria, because I don't know that I had the faith after, and so like, if I could sidebar, man, this is why like you need people in your corner. You know what I'm saying? That can like lift you up when you're not. Because again, I told you my mom got diagnosed with cancer in 2021. So not only was I having faith for the shop, I was trying to have faith for her healing, and her restored. And the short answer is like neither one of those prayers are answered the way I wanted. Like we didn't get the shop in 21. She passed in 22, and like I was really struggling to like have faith in God doing things that were beyond my own ability. Like anything I figured like I had the talent or resource or access to do, no problem. God, we got this. But anything that I was like, I don't have an answer for, I was really struggling to believe that God would do it. And so honestly, man, my wife is the one that really kept the faith that like this wasn't a no, but like a not yet. She was the one that really was just kind of like really hopeful that God gave us that location. Like we believed it, we prayed for it, we fasted for it. We knew that was the place God wanted us to have. And she's the one that was just like, we're not giving up on that. And so even when last year, when idea came back up of like, I think this might be time to us consider it, I wasn't thinking about that location. I was like, I don't know where we're going to go out. We're going to go see where it's going to be. But it was her that went back to that location, looked it up, and realized it had been like pretty much vacant for the last like 2 years. It was like, it's open, it's available again. And so she was the one that kind of got us back on that path. So yeah, I would love to take the credit for having faith and being strong, you know what I'm saying? But really it was a hard season for me. And I'm grateful, for my wife having the faith that she did and continue to encourage me and push me. Because if she hadn't, I don't know if we actually would have a shot.
Nice. So two things that come to mind as I'm listening to you. One is the second time in this conversation that you mentioned the importance of fasting. And I think that's big. That's something that really in the last year or so that I've started to put in my bag to do. I was always a prayer and a go do, pray and a go do. And I learned the power of fasting maybe 2 or 3 months ago. Something I was really needing, and it wasn't for me per se, but something I was really needing to happen. And it came to like a brick wall, and I went to fasting, and then like it just opened up right here. So I think that's important because the move from Cali, before you move, you say y'all fast for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Now before getting into the coffee shop after being told no, you go back to fasting. When you're struggling with faith, when your mom has passed away, like that's big. But also I want to ask in that same breath is, do you think looking back at it that maybe God needed you to get to a space first before the doors were open for the coffee shop for you? Like sometimes I feel like that's the thing, is like he'll show us that it's ours, but there's steps to get there before he says here. Just in retrospect, how do you look at that?
Yeah, it's one of those things that I know to be true, like what you just articulated. Like even if you just look at biblically, so many of the promises God gave, people had to wait to see it. We just gave that Abram example. Like it was 25 years before Isaac was born. For David was anointed king, and it took 15 years before he took that crown. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of these stories, we read them, and because we read them real quick, we feel like it was short. But it's like if you look at the timestamps, it took a while before the promise that God gave actually was received by, those individuals. And back to Hebrews 11, some of them never received the promise. Like others saw it actually, actually happen. And so I know that to be true. I think, and looking back, yes, it's easy for me to see now, okay, why God did what he did, why I had to wait, why certain things took place the way that they did. But I think it's in that season that's really hard, and that's the part that you're trying to that's why I said having good people around you, having like you said, being rooted and grounded in the Lord, like to just persevere and push through is so important. Because like I said, looking back, yeah, I can tell you all the things God did, the community that I have. So I didn't say this, but the pivot that God changed, like when we didn't get the shop, the word that he gave my wife, myself, my mom, and then Dylan, who was with us, who's still with us, but like Dylan was build my church. Like this was the word he gave us right after that. And so that's ultimately what planted and launched what is now Vibez Church. And it started with the 4 of us just meeting in my living room. Now it is a community of people. Like we done weddings, we done had babies born. Like this, it's built this community over these last few years. And when we launched the shop, we launched it with community. Like we had people with us doing it in a way that we wouldn't have been able to do on our own the way we did before. And so like I can look back and go, okay, I see what God was doing. I see what he was trying to build first, as the foundation for the shop. But again, in the moment, man, it's tough. And so I think just looking back, trying to look back on previous seasons is helpful. Of like, okay, God worked it out before, He can do it again type thing is helpful. But yeah, I know what He was doing now. And it's so common. It's so common that God will give you, I look at it like you're on a road trip and you see the sign that's like DC is 600 miles away. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you're in the right direction, but you ain't in DC yet. Like, it's still down, it's down the freeway. Like, sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's like, here's a sign. I'm just letting you know that's in your future. That's the direction you're going. You're not quite there yet, but when you get there, like, you'll know. You know what I'm saying? And so,
I like that. I want to say that you say you've been there maybe a year and a half now.
At the shop?
Yeah.
It'll be a year next month.
A year next month. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I've maybe in the last 6-7 months, I've heard about Vibez on a regular basis, and it's largely because I've tapped more into the faith-based space. I would say in the last year or two, like I've always had a relationship with God, but in the last year or two, I really just leaned in and being in that space and removed myself from spaces I used to be in more often. And so with that, of course, you change your environment, you get to see new things. I'm in Bible studies a lot more, so I'm hearing conversations. And it's like, oh yeah, man, we're going to Vibe, man. They have worship night. I'm like, Vibe? Like, yeah, they have worship nights on Friday. Oh yeah, man, they got church on, or they're doing a networking event. Or I'm doing a Bible study, or sometimes it's like, hey, yeah, we're just going to Vibes. And then we left from Vibes and we went fellowship out in the streets. And it's like, man, what is this Vibes place? And how do I get there? But at the time, I'm working a lot. I'm at other Bible studies, so the freedom of me getting there was harder. Then one of the Bible studies I was in, they stopped meeting for a while, and I was like, well, I got a new day. Let's try it out. And the guy AZ, he does Bible studies there Monday. I reached out to him. I'm like, hey man, you do Bible study and pull up. I pulled up. I'm coming in, and I'm like, oh, I like this. I like coffee. I like this vibe. I'm sitting around, and the vibe of the actual Bible study changes from just being in there, because you can go grab some coffee, a little iced coffee, nice little pastry. I love the pastry. You know what I mean? And sit down and really just be there. But it's like, man, I really like this, and I understand why people are coming. And then I start seeing like there's a young lady that's on my Instagram. I know her from some other things we did, but I believe Ryan Jenkins. She did like an open mic night there, and I'm like, man, I missed it, but I wanted to get there. The intro is me rapping, so I don't know if y'all do rap, but I want to do a little Christian rap, So I'm like, cool, like this really is a place, and you've built what to me the vision, or at least you're getting to that vision what God is wanting you to do, because you have different little sects that's building out of what you in faith built towards. And I love that about it. But if you would speak more to the mindset, I know you said that's kind of what the vision that God gave you, but speak to the mindset of how y'all approach that, and just what it's been like to see the response to people taking in that space and cultivating the vibe culture.
Yeah, man. First of all, thank you for saying that, man. That's an encouragement. Yeah, it's an encouragement, and I'm grateful for it sincerely. Yeah, so the name Vibez, man, it says it all. It's kind of what we are trying to be. God gave it to me as a bridge between kind of the world and the spirit. So there's a passage in, I believe, the book of Acts where Paul is in Greece and he's preaching, and he's trying to relate to the Greeks with their gods that they worship. And he points out this unknown God, right? This God that, like, they have this shrine open to this unknown God. And he uses that to kind of bridge the gap between their culture and ultimately, the gospel. And, vibes is something the world understands, right? Everybody understands vibes. But for us, it's like, it's the Holy Spirit. Like, that's what you experience. When you come in, you feel that peace that so many people point out when they get there, and they're just like, bro, like, it's just, there's peace, there's this joy, there's this calm. Like, they're like, it's different when you walk through the door. I'm like, that is the Holy Spirit. That is anointing. That is prayer. That is like fasting has been done. Not just people, our church community is continuing to pray for y'all. Like, that's what you feel. And it gives us that bridge to kind of do that. And so, because that is the environment, we want to cultivate creativity, inspiration. Like, we want people to come in hear from the Lord and be inspired to write and create and study and like prophesy and whatever. Like we just want it to be that kind of place that does that. And so, yeah, anytime people come and like we want to host a study or we want to do an event, like that's the kind of space we want to be for people, to know that they have that space. And, the reality is, like you said, and the world is hard, to kind of know what's behind everything that you see, what we listen to, what we watch, what we walk into, and I don't want to get spooky on nobody, but I believe in the spirit. And then if I believe in the spirit, I also believe in the demonic, you know what I'm saying? And I believe in both. And sometimes you walk into a place and you want it to be, good food or whatever, but it's like you see certain things on the wall or images or idols, you're like, golly, I don't know if I can, have this. And so I say all that to say it's just, we want to be a place free from that people can just come in and know you can experience the grace of God, the love of God, the peace of God, and just feel free to be inspired, and creative. So yeah, that's the vision. And it's been so encouraging every time I hear something like what you shared, or even from others who walk in and say that. I feel like it's a little like, I don't know if you have this kind of relationship sometimes with the Lord, but like sometimes I feel like it's just like a little like, I don't know, like a wink from God, or just like, like I see, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what he's doing. This is what he's going for. You know what I mean? It's just a reminder that like you're on the right path and you did the thing. Like this is what I showed you it would be. And so yeah, man, it's been really good.
Yeah, when you said that wink, it reminded me of that scene on Bad Boys at the end, but like Martin is like, like, yeah, you on it. You
I see you. I see you. You see me. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of seeing you, I saw you on the news, brother.
Oh man, what was I talking about?
I caught I want to say the screenshot you on WIS.
Okay. Yep.
Like a little morning segments. Tell us about that. How that came about.
Yeah. So that was during Black Eats Week 803, which was just kind of a organization put together for Black-owned restaurants in Columbia to kind of get an opportunity to shine, get people, encourage people to go and try our different businesses and foods and things of that nature. And so we participated this year, and got a connection through that to actually be on WIS a couple times and talk about it. And I'm candid, what I was really grateful for was that they gave me the space to talk about my faith in both those segments. Because I did Soda City with them that week as well, Soda City Living. And neither one of them was like, just talk about the coffee, like stick to the coffee type thing. But they let me be real honest about, who we were and how much faith plays a part in our shop. Because we're not afraid of that. Like, we don't hide behind that. We want to be a place that everybody's welcomed, whether you believe in Jesus or not. Come in, be a part of, the shop and feel welcome. But we also aren't going to shy away from the fact that we do believe in Jesus, and we love him. And so, I was really grateful for the opportunity to not just talk about our coffee, which is really good, but to talk about the faith piece.
Yeah, the coffee is great. We talk about faith, and I mentioned the pastries, but the coffee is good. Anybody watching, I got to let you know, I like the iced coffee. I'm, it's summertime, so I want to be cool. Yeah. But every time I go there so far, my son is with me. And he had to count like, yeah, I'm getting one too, Dad. Like he loves it. Like for whatever reason, he's 14 and he drinks coffee like he's an adult. He asked me for coffee more than I really drink coffee.
That's hilarious.
The coffee is great, man. Like the environment is great. But tell us more about the coffee. Like we talk about a lot of things, but like what's the mindset? Like how do you learn coffee? Like how do you really know coffee? Because you were talking about that coffee earlier, how you brew it slow and everything. Like I didn't know that was a thing. So if you would kind of give us a background on how you really got into the coffee side of everything.
Yeah. It's funny. I feel like every question just gives me an opportunity to give God glory, but like legit, like this is another time where I get to just celebrate him, because my background is not in coffee. Like I was a pastor for a while, right? Like still pastor, but I'm a pastor, salesperson, but none of that has anything to do with coffee. And I drank coffee every day. But as far as, like you said, learning the craft and all of that, like the science behind coffee, that wasn't something I kind of knew. But a shout out when we were trying to figure out who our roast would be, because we don't roast our own coffee, but we work with a small roaster and kind of sell bags and whatnot. But we work with a small roaster out of Charlotte. And when we were trying to figure out who that would be, we were looking around at different things, and ultimately had put my name in for like a match type thing to match me with some roasters. And I had asked for like 5 different matches so I could kind of, try some different coffees in nature. And they gave me one. Like they gave me one particular shop and met with them. And I know it was nothing but the Lord, because like on their website, I had gone to their websites before I even met with them. And they had this section, their about section, where they were like, we believe, I can't say a word for word, but essentially they believe that coffee gave them an opportunity to honor their creator, like through excellent coffee, essentially, right? And so it was that like symbol of like, these people, they believe and follow Jesus. And so we connected with them, these 2 brothers, great dudes, but they trained us, man. Like they took time to just sit down and kind of teach us coffee from origin all the way through the brew methods, through the variety of kind of drinks and menus and things of that nature. And I think when you really understand the art of coffee, it's not much different than wine. It's not much different than steak. Like some of these things that like you understand how long you roast it versus don't roast it, how that impacts flavor, how you brew it impacts flavor, time, temperature, pressure. Like there's all these things that are behind it. It really is a science when it's done really well. And yeah, like I said, they just spent time training us and teaching us, and they were great teachers. They've been great support to us ever since. They're mentors of ours now. And so even when I continue, if I have questions or things of that nature, there are people I can still go to. But yeah, it just took time sitting down with them, and it was good teachers, man. And they taught us well, and by the grace of the Lord, have great coffee as well. So so we picked a good roast, man. So it was good.
I agree. I've done. I ain't gonna name drop some other companies, but I've done the little green logo people.
Yeah.
And the little orange ones that come with donuts.
Yeah.
And the coffee's cool. I mean, no, not to it, but I genuinely, not just because you're on the show, I genuinely enjoy the coffee there. Like each time I come for Bible study, I stop at the bar and get me a cup before I sit down. Like it's a beautiful blend of sipping and getting in the word and taking in the vibe, fellowshipping. Like I really have to say, bro, like I'm glad that God put it together the way he did, because you really have the vibe. Like that really is a great vibe of a Black-owned Christian base in a nice space where like it's really ducked off in the most beautiful way. Like because like the city might not know you, and I know that's kind of maybe a challenge.
Yeah.
But when you find it back there, it's like, oh man, it's been hiding back.
It's a hidden gem, man.
It's a hidden gem. It's a beautiful thing. With that being said, bro, I'm gonna give you the stage. I want you to talk about Vibe a little bit. If you got a nugget, if you got upcoming events or any specials, whatever you want to give, the stage is yours, brother.
Appreciate that, man. Yeah, look, first and foremost, our slogan is "Come for the coffee, stay for the vibes." Like we are all about enjoying your time there, being at the shop, and really coming and staying. Free Wi-Fi, all that stuff. We are not kicking you out. We want you to really enjoy being there. As far as some upcoming things, we have a worship night once a month. So just follow us on Instagram at Vibez, Vibez Coffee. Also on Facebook and TikTok. Just search Vibez Coffee. I'm sure you can find us that way, Vibez Coffee Cola. But follow us. That'll tell you kind of when things are coming up and what we do, whether it's the worship nights, whether it's open mic nights, things of that nature. But honestly, like my biggest ask is tell anybody you know about us. We are, as Tessa's pointing out, a hidden gem kind of in the Canal Side area that's not always easy to find necessarily. And so the more people you can tell about us, the better. It helps us to continue to grow and get exposure. And I said, when genuinely people find us, they love us. And that's kind of what we hope for. So yeah, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all those different areas. Reach out to us, visit our website, vibez.coffee. You can order ahead, any of those type of things. But yeah, come for the coffee, stay for the vibes, and Tessa says, stay for God and the Holy Spirit.
I love it, man. I love it. Eric, don't go anywhere. I'm gonna speak to the people real quick, and we're gonna sign off. I'm gonna talk to you a little bit backstage.
All right.
To the viewers. Oh, you know I'm grateful you're here. Oh, y'all keep rocking with me. Now I just need y'all to transfer that energy over to Vibes. I'm gonna talk to Eric after this, and maybe we can kind of do a live or something. We'll figure it out. But I definitely want y'all to go to Vibes. You come here on a Sunday, go there Monday through Saturday. Like, check out the worship, check out the church service they have on Sunday. Just check them out. Check out the websites, check out the Instagrams. Just Google them. It's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful vibe. And guys ordained it, so why not be there? Why not be in a space that so many people enjoy the vibe of the Holy Spirit being there? Like, why not? This is 82.0 Live. This has been another great conversation on a great Sunday. I want y'all to know that this week, I know I've said it a bunch, the website is coming. I promise you, it's done. It's really finished. I can unlock it right now, but I'm kind of trying to be a perfectionist. I want a few little things tweaked, but it's wonderful. Hopefully you'll be able to go there and see upcoming events for Vibes. Different things is there. You'll see some of the content that I've already filmed at Vibes there in our off the script segments. You'll see AZ, who has a Bible study there on Mondays. You should check out at 6:30. Come by, get you some coffee, and sit and read the Word with a group of great people. He has a few segments that'll be on the website, exclusive to the website. Man, if nothing else, man, just stay close to God, man. Stay in that Bible. Stay blessed. Stay great, man. Until next Sunday, man. Peace.
Greetings. Most importantly, blessings. Yes, sir. Bless my heart, bless my soul. Left it to the world, they're surely turning cold. Bless my heart, bless my soul. Give me the strength to continue on this road. Bless my heart and bless my soul. Left it to the world, they're surely turning cold. Bless my heart and bless my soul. Give me the strength to continue on this road.
Brother.